What's up, y'all? It's your boy KB, Dr. Kyle Berkeley, Kyle S. Berkeley, author of The Wake, author of The Void, author of The Legacy, and soon to be released The Union. By soon, I mean like around November of 2023. Um, it's great to see you guys. I've been working nonstop on this book tour, building this publishing company, Boldprint Publishing, doing a few pitch meetings as well. So there is a series that's in the happenings. It's a lot of moving pieces with that, so I'm not going to go in too much detail about that. But I am excited because, dude, it's a legit series about the Tiffany Gibbons saga, and it's just a matter of how we're doing it. It's a matter of, do we jump in with the wake, do we jump in with the void, or some other fun stuff that will work that's being pitched behind the scenes. And that's fun, some fun stuff. So I definitely wanted to start off with that. And I also wanted to mention, so I definitely want to make sure I make this a weekly video blog. There has been some challenges with it because I have been recording them. I just haven't been posting them. And the reason why is I don't want them to be dry. Like I don't want to just talk about just my books, or once the series starts streaming, I don't want to just talk about that. Like I definitely want to talk about a lot of issues. Like it's Pride Month. Happy Pride Month to all my friends in the LGBTQ community. They were super supportive when I released The Wake. The Silk character from The Wake, it resonated very well. Honestly, that was one of my biggest fears when I put out The Wake, was how what kind of backlash would I had received. Even though I did reach out to a few people in that community to get some insight when I was writing the Silk character, you do want to be sensitive when you're talking about a population that you're not a part of, right? And that's always been one of my biggest issues when I do watch movies and they write African American characters, and you're looking at them like, dude, we don't act like that, we don't talk like that. Why are you making us seem so soft or so passive or so forgiving and stuff like that? Like that's not who we are. That was actually one of my biggest gripes with the Walking Dead TV series. In contrast to the book, I love the book. Love the book, period. The TV series I had a lot of problems with, especially like how they wrote Tyrese in contrast to how Tyrese was in the book. I didn't like how they wrote Tyrese on the show. Super soft, or like T-Dog. And there was a few others. Like they just made these characters super soft. Like, no, that's not how we are. Like, I don't know where you got this from, but it's like it's crazy because you made Michonne strong, like super strong, super intelligent, and all that kind of stuff. But that's neither here nor there. That's another round for another time. Let's go straight into this book tour. Let's talk about that. So this East Coast book tour is moving right along. It's doing great. I'm enjoying myself. Getting real great reviews coming from different people who purchased the book, people who are diving into the series. By book, I'm encompassing all of them. I should say books. People have purchased the books, The Wake, The Void, and The Legacy. Uh, Norfolk, Virginia right now is on hold for various reasons because of the vendor. The bookstore I was supposed to be at was at a mall. It appears that that bookstore and that mall is closing, or that bookstore is just closing. So we're on hold with Norfolk for a minute. I had to reschedule the New York signing, so I am in contact with them, and we are in the process of rescheduling a date. It looks like it's going to be in July. I just want to be sure of the date before I come back to you all. And Charleston, South Carolina is still a go, and I will be at the Black Mall in Baltimore City in July. I just got done talking to Sherian Wright about it. So that is going to be a go. And she has been super helpful with me with promoting with the Black Mall and everything. Um, I'm enjoying this popularity with the trailer. Um, so for those who know and those who don't know, there are two trailers I have out, right? There's a trailer for The Wake. Well, no, my bad. There was a trailer for The Wake, which was a scene from the book, which Devin Walker and I are probably going to sit at the table and we're going to reshoot another trailer for the wait to because right now the back sales of that are picking back up, which is great. And but there's a trailer for The Void and there's a trailer for The Legacy, right? The Legacy just came out a few weeks ago, May 1st, and it is doing very well. It is getting real great reviews. I do want to point out if you have The Wake, have The Void, or have The Legacy, it helps a great deal when you leave comments on Amazon or Barnes and Nobles. So please, if you have a copy, please leave a review. It helps. It helps bring me up the charts. It helps bring new buyers over. It helps attract attention. So please, by all means, leave a review. I need this, please. Future artists, authors, etc., that are going to be working with Boldprint, they need this because they need to see, hey, look, this is what we do at Boldprint. We put out real great work. So please, by all means, if you have a copy of The Wake, you have a copy of The Void, you have a copy of The Legacy, please go on Amazon, go on Barnes and Nobles, go on both, leave a review, tell the world how you love the book. Um, but the popularity of the trailer. So Devin Walker and I, we shot the Voyage trailer at my godson's mother's house, and we actually just took it piece by piece straight out the book. My friend V, she played the part of Tiffany Gibbons, and my boy Dre, Dre Tough, one from Break Every Chain Fitness, he played the part of Marshawn Bell, and my godson, he played the role of Milk, and we shot the trailer right there, straight out the book, line for line, and we just put it right on screen, and that blew up. And currently, um, the Legacies trailer is blowing up, which is crazy because I had this idea how to do the Legacy trailer, and what I wanted to do was I wanted to do an overview of the AFK action figure killer, and I wanted to just like basically kind of give that backstory in a weird way, like what's terrorizing Reggie Square at this moment, because in this series something's always terrorizing Reggie Square, just like Baltimore. There's always something terrorizing us, right? So I wanted to shoot it, but I wanted to make it like line for line. So the words that are said are directly out the book, and I just wanted to just show it, but like really show Baltimore in that, right? And I actually got off the phone with my brother Dre, a whole different Dre. I just got off the phone with my brother Dre a few minutes ago before we went live on here, and I was just giving him like the whole history slash backstory of who Action Figure Killer is without spoiling anything from the book, and like where that whole inspiration came from. And anyway, so while I was sharing, because I'm really trying to get the hang of this algorithm and everything, and if you know anybody who's really good at like the social media stuff, that's really good at like influencing, please send them to Bold Print Publishing because we are really trying to get our work really out there and it really helps. So anyway, I put out the trailer again. I just put it out on Instagram and I think I put it back out on TikTok and it really got picked up. So Baltimore World Star and Only in 410 Baltimore, they threw it up on their platforms. And next thing you know, it started going viral, which I'm very happy about. There's a whole bunch of eyes, and there was a lot of talk of, hey, when is this movie coming out? Hey, when is the series coming out? And what's funny is it is coming out. It's just a matter of how we're piecing it together. There's a producer that has been very interested in getting the film rights to my Wake, Void, and now Legacy series. Well, the Tiffany Gibbons series, and we have been in talks. I know he's in Canada right now shooting a movie, and we even talked about this whole writer's strike that's going on. And he was saying how actually putting a product like this out is good timing because of the whole writer's strike and the need for content. And my business partner, Devin Walker, who is currently working on an outstanding um, documentary, which it appears I'm going to be a co-executive producer on. I'm going to be helping out with that. Um, so we're chatting about how we're putting this together, and we're talking about we've been going through different pilots. I know I've written 3 different versions of pilots for this Tiffany Given Saga series, and we're still also pitching it. I mentioned in one of the video blogs I didn't post, which I'm probably gonna go back and just upload them on this YouTube channel soon. But I had a real good pitch meeting, and we talked about this whole business plan on how to possibly even bring the series about to selling it to some of these majors and stuff. And there are two real big options I do have in the back of my pocket. Not gonna go into a lot of detail on that, but it's there. I am excited about it. But there is a Tiffany Given Saga series in the works as far as for streaming watching, and I'm excited. I'm glad that it's picking up. I'm glad that it's getting the reviews it's getting, and I'm glad that it's getting people who aren't used to or don't normally read books that just watch and consume media the ways that they do. I'm glad that it is picking up the way how it is, and people are picking up these books and reading this series. That being said, I want to mention the Wake, the Void, and the Legacy. Even though it's literature, right? And it's meant for people who like reading to read and enjoy. People who don't like literature and don't like reading, it's meant for them to enjoy as well. So I definitely want to mention that. Like it's these are works that are meant to bring in brand new readers to enjoy literature, to bring them in this world, the the fictionalized world of Baltimore, but bringing in real elements, right? Like a whole bunch of real elements. Like even when I talk about AFK, there are real elements to the figure killer. Like there's a ton of research I do when I do these books. Like with AFK, like there's stuff about the Bunny Man. There's stuff about the Mannequin Killer. There's stuff about BTK. There's stuff that all across board. There's some other pieces, and I'm going to be giving things away about the book if I go into further detail. So I'm not, but there's a lot of different elements. Then there's also elements of family dynamics, right? There's still Jamar and Hakeem's family dynamic. There's stuff with Tiffany and her mom and her aunts, and there's those aspects. So I definitely wanted to make sure that I intertwine all that, and there's a lot of research that goes in there. So I'm glad that the trailer's picking up the way how it is, and I'm glad about the pitch meetings that I'm happening. I'm also glad about the discussions that have come up about Marshawn Bell and the inspirations around Marshawn Bell, AFK, Paul Douglas, and Roland Wise. I will tell you the real life character of Marshawn Bell, who was a real life police officer. Um, I had the way how I wrote it because I've mentioned before when I did the Void and I did the Legacy, I wrote them together side by side, and I didn't want to make them one book just because of the 2 year time gap between the Void and the Legacy. So I wanted to make sure that I wanted to really flesh things out. So with Marshawn Bell, Paul Douglas, and Roland Wise, they're basically the same character in an odd way. Like they're just telling different parts of the same character. Um, but they're the same person, the real life person. They're the same person, but they're three different characters. And I kind of played with Roland Wise a little bit because I took some aspects of the DC sniper, John Muhammad, and I added that into his characterization as well. With Paul Douglas, like I said, he's more so the person who Marshawn Bell was based off of. They're both in real life, they're both the same person, but in this book, they're both kind of split. And when you get to the courtroom scene in The Void, that's really the tell sign of Marshawn Bell and his real backstory because he's not lying about his life at all in that courtroom. Like he's not manipulating anybody, even though he's manipulating by telling the truth, which is amazing. So when you get to that courtroom scene, you'll be like, "What? Wow!" You know. And it's weird because when you get to Paul Douglas and the legacy, and you go, "Okay, so tell me more about him." You know what I mean? And what? when the detectives do talk about him, you're like, okay, but it's funny because in real life they're the same person, and it's like I was very careful how I wrote it because I didn't want to give too much of, wait, this is the same thing rehashed because it's not. It's Marshawn in the wake. Sorry, Marshawn in the void is fully realized in one aspect where he, in his mind, thinks a, he thinks he's doing the right thing for his mom. Um, as opposed to Paul Douglas, he's more like I'm taking care of the gang and I'm taking care of these streets and I've done everything for everybody else. Right now, there's this FBI investigation. I now need these streets to take care of me. So just giving some in, little insight of where those inspirations came from. And right now, I am working on the Union, which hopefully will be out by November. This book is booking. That's what I will say. It is very fun to write. It's been a lot of different redoings of things with this book, just because I really wanted to flesh things out. This is probably going to be the longest book in the series so far, and it's a lot. It's a lot, and it's really juicy because it's telling a real good story and a very up to date story. And that's as far as I can go as far as telling what I'm doing with that. Just because we're promoting the wake, we're promoting the legacy, we're promoting the void. You know, like we have three bangers right now out, and I mean, we have an award-winning The Wake. We have a critically acclaimed The Void, and The Legacy is getting critically acclaimed. And right now, it's getting people beating down my door, like emails, phone calls, everything. Like, hey, look, can we make this into a series? Like, how soon can we start making this into a series? So, we have some real cool things going on with that. Other than that, let's talk about some things I'm enjoying right now in life. So, growing up, I was a diehard wrestling fan, right? Shifting gears, sorry. For those who just want to hear me talk about the Wake, the Void, and the Legacy, I'm going to shift gears a little bit because there are things I like talking about too. It is. So, growing up, I used to be a diehard wrestling fan, right? And I grew up loving Stone Cold Steve Austin. I grew up loving The Rock. I grew up loving Triple H, who was probably one of my favorite wrestlers of all times. I grew up loving Chris Benoit, Kurt Angle, and so many more, right? Mick Foley, especially when he was like Mankind and Cactus Jack, and Vader and Owen Hart. Bret Hart. Bret Hart is probably my top five dead or alive. He's probably number one on my list, actually. Um, yeah, I would probably go Bret, Kurt, Chris Jericho, Chris Benoit, and number five is up for debate, right? As far as my favorite all-time wrestlers, right? But I have been enjoying this Bloodline storyline because like there was a point where I just stopped watching wrestling altogether. I think I stopped right after The Rock fought John Cena for the second time at WrestleMania, and that was it. Like it was just like, dude, this was fun, this is great, but I'm out of it. Like it just seemed like the storylines, it was like very cookie cutter. It, there wasn't nothing that was attracting me to it anymore, right? It was just I'm not trashing the product. I'm not trashing wrestlers. I'm not trashing any of that, right? Because I do love I love the art that goes into wrestling. So I'm not trashing that at all. But it was just something that went, man, this isn't for me right now. You know, and I just kind of got out of it. And it was like that rush to run to be in front of a TV at 9 o'clock to watch Monday Night Raw wasn't there anymore. Right? And I couldn't get into TN. Like I tried TNA. I enjoyed the main event Mafia storyline for a while. When Jeff Hardy went over there, that was kind of cool for a little bit. And you know, Jeff had his issues with opiates, which is sad because he started wrestling when he was what 15 to 16 years old. When he was wrestling Razor Ramon in WWF at an early age. So you know, and he's doing all those stunts and jumping off of ladders and all kind of stuff, and he's putting his body through stuff. So you know, those pain pills, social worker hat, those pain pills turn into an addiction because it becomes a dependency after some point in time. So you get it, right, with Jeff Hardy. So not making excuses, just like I get it. Like I do therapy for a living and I work with people with addiction since 2008, 2009, and longer than that actually since 2003, 2004. So it's like you get it. So not making any excuse, just I really understand that nature of the beast. And when somebody, I don't remember who, there was somebody who was like, dude, have you been watching this Bloodline storyline? I was like, what? It was like, dude, you gotta watch this Bloodline storyline. It's crazy, dog. It's like really good. I was like, what's that? They was like in wrestling. I was like, WWE, TNA, or AEW. They was like WWE. I was like, uh, okay, who's in it? Triple H. Like, no, Triple H had pacemaker or something put in. He's not wrestling anymore. I was like, oh, dang, that's sorry to hear that. I love Triple H. Who's in it? They was like Roman Reigns. I was like, dude from the Shield. They was like, yeah. I was like, what is he doing? They was like, dude, you just have to watch this joint, right? So I'm like, okay, I give it a shot. I give it a shot. So of course, what I do because I work 3 jobs, so I'll say I don't know how I'm gonna fit this in my schedule. I'll go on YouTube and I started watching like highlights, right? On YouTube, just watch highlights of blood. I'm like, dude, this is good. This is really good. Like I don't see myself actually sitting back and watching full episodes of Monday Night Raw or SmackDown or NXT or anything like that. I don't think I'm watching too much of all that, but I am into this storyline, right? So, for those who don't know what I'm talking about at all, and I get it, Roman Reigns is a part of this big family in wrestling in real life. This is completely real life. This isn't like script stuff, right? So, he has this real big family. They're all Samoan. Rock is a part of that family as well, Dwayne Johnson. And in his family, there's several wrestlers currently that are in WWE. What he did was he created a group where it's his cousins together and they are dominating the whole industry. So Roman Reigns has 2 heavyweight titles, his cousins have tag team titles, and his other cousin is like an enforcer. And it's like on some real mafioso type stuff, right? And it's like, dude, this is dope. Like, I've seen this in real life, like not with the wrestling piece, but like where families just dominate, right? Like this is stuff that I grew up around. This is stuff that I've seen in real life. Like this is dope. I like this. I like this story. And then you start to see like the whole breakdown of Roman Reigns' psyche, and he invites somebody else in, or somebody else really wants to be part of this group, and that person comes to be the piece that calls for them to fall apart. And it's like, and then this guy and Roman Reigns has held his belt for 3 years, 1,000 days or whatever, and he hasn't been pinned or beat or whatever. And it's like, but there's like so many other dynamics. Like, dude, this is really good. This is like NWO level good. And the part that made my jaw drop was when Royal Rumble happened and Sami Zayn, one of the wrestlers, who Roman Reigns invited into the fold, turned his back on Roman, right? And he did all this stuff to prove himself to Roman, just to hit him in the back with a chair or whatever, right? Which it kind of seemed like the family was getting stronger and going after Sami Zayn, and then his cousins lose the tag team titles to Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn's best friend in real life, they were his best man at the wedding, and they both got in the wrestling industry together. Kevin Owens, and it's like now it's like there's a real implosion amongst the family, and I was like, dude, this is dope and deep on so many different levels. And I'm like, how long has the storyline been going on? They were like at least 3 years. Like, this is good. This is really entertaining. And I'm really enjoying it. I'm just really enjoying that, right? And it really brings back a lot of feelings of like the Attitude Era and stuff like that. Something I'm not enjoying, sadly though, is what's going on with Jonathan Majors. And I talked about this on another video blog that I didn't upload yet, just because I was in a fence of really talking about it because it's really sad. Like Jonathan Majors is a character that I was really, really, well, not character, a person that I was enjoying his body of work. Like I really found out who he was when he did Lovecraft Country, right? And I thought he did a great job acting. I didn't think that the show or the writers did a real good job giving me a reason to like him. And I said this before on the cast that I was doing with Mo Crosby. We were doing an after show for Lovecraft Country. And I was really upset because I was like, dude, all this money that you're investing in these special effects and everything, you have this great ensemble cast, right? You have oh my gosh, I'm blanking on his name. He played Omar on The Wire. But you have him, Michael K. Williams. Um, you have uh, I'm thinking of what you call it, Dave Chappelle, and how he was making fun of her brother. Uh, Juicy Smollett. You have Jesse Smollett's sister on the show. And dude, you have so many great actors, right? And then you have some real good lore in there, right? You have the Cat on the Nine Tails. Um you have all this great lore inside of there, right? And then it's like, but what's the thing that's that makes me like this main character, which is Tick? And I was like, what's my pull? Like, what's the draw? Like, I'm loving this. I love everything that you put into it, but what's my hook, right? What hooks me to Tick? What makes Tick a person I'm rooting for? And it's not there. And then, even when I ask people, like when people would like, yo, you going real hard on this person on this podcast, like, dude, where am I wrong? What's the reason why you like Tick? Like, oh well, Tick. Oh wait, you got a point. I'm like, yes, exactly. It has to be a driving force. Like, years ago, behind the scenes stuff. Devin Walker and I, we were in the process of trying to make a Wake movie, right? And while we was trying to make a Wake movie, we was trying to figure out how to make Tina, which is Tiffany's first cousin. We were trying to figure out how to make Tina, how to translate her on screen to suck people in, right? To make people really get behind her and not go beat by the book. And while we were doing that, Devin's coming up with these ideas, and Devin says to me, "Look, bruh, you have to do something that makes her resonate with the audience. This is the person that you want to root for." Just so, like when you look at that, like it can't just be trauma porn, right? I just can't support you because you're going through trauma because trauma porn is horrible. Who wants to watch that? I mean, I'm sure that they are, but that's not the artist I am, right? As an author, I'm an artist. It's not the artist I am. And by my art, I want to draw you in by not just yeah, there's trauma involved, but trauma shouldn't be the thing that defines you. It's a part of you and it's something that you can overcome, right? And the wake and by the time you get to the void, you see that bridge where Tiffany overcomes trauma. And now it's like all right, now that Tiffany's overcome trauma, what's next for Tiffany? So what's next for Tiffany at this point is where you get to legacy, right? And then from legacy, you get the union, and then we cap off once we get to transition, right? So you have to have that progression, character development, right? So it's like, what's Tick's character development? What is his hook? And I couldn't find it. And I tried, right? And Watchmen didn't have that problem. There's tons of other shows and movies that didn't have a problem. Actually, what's funny is, and I apologize for those who know Jussie Smollett's sister's name. I'm blanking on her name. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I am only human. But she had character development, right? It was there for her. Um, Michael K. Williams, he had character development, but for whatever reason, Tick's character didn't have character development. Mind you, at the same time, Jonathan Majors is putting on an acting clinic given what he has. And that's where I went like, dude, I like this guy. This guy's great. Even with what he's playing with in his hands, He is like gripping it and controlling it. And it's like, this is mine. You know what I mean? And he's owning it. And it's like, yeah, he's eating that screen time up, and he's doing a phenomenal job, and he's bringing it. So I fell in love with his work then. And then when you see him in Loki, the Loki series, he owned, like, oh my gosh, that monologue. It was just wow. You know what I mean? Like, he owned it. And then, you look at what he had to play with Ant-Man. I know Ant-Man is a controversial thing, right? Like, some people love it, some people hate it. One thing that we all can agree is Jonathan Majors brought it. Jonathan Majors does a great job as Kang. I'm a comic book reader. I love Kang in the comics. Kang the Conqueror is amazing. And what Jonathan Majors has done with Kang has elevated the art, right? Like, and I was really looking forward to what's going on. But with these allegations and stuff going on and him being dropped by these different firms and everything, it's heartbreaking because, like, there is a huge possibility there's victims out there that were assaulted by this man, right? So it's like you have this rising star who was just in Creed 3 and really brought it. It ate up that screen time every time. Like, he just ate those scenes, right? He just brought something to there. And you have these allegations. Ant-Man 3 have this flimsy thing that could be good to some people, could be bad, art is subjective, but he's grabbing it, he's controlling it, and it's like, this guy's amazing as an actor. He's super talented, but there's these allegations and there's victims. And when there's victims, how how do we bridge this gap? Because not only is he hurting his if this happened, his career is hurt and damaged horribly, but as a people, because he looks like me. You know what I mean? Like, we're of the same blood, we're the same race. You know what I mean? So as a people, how does this hurt us? You get what I'm saying? Because we love it when we see one of us make it. We love it when we see one of us doing great. Just like Tank Davis. Like, dude, he's from our hometown. He's from Baltimore. He's West Baltimore. Now, West Baltimore, we go at it. You know what I mean? We do our thing. But we support our own publicly. You know what I mean? We might tear each other down, join on each other, talk about each other in the streets, you know what I mean? Hate on each other, whatever. But when you're from here, you're from here. Out in these streets, out in public, social media, whatever, across the world, that's our boy. What's his name? Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson came here. Lamar Jackson is a part of this. Like, Lamar Jackson's from Florida, right? But he's our quarterback. He looks like me, my blood. You know what I mean? And he has completely embraced. Like, when I saw him with doing a live video at Miss Shirley's kitchen, I was like, yeah, he's really living his life. I see him over at a football practice over at Douglas High School a few years ago. I'm like, see, he out here living his life. You know what I mean? No security. He's just out here. You know what I mean? And it's like he's like really just embracing us and he's loving us, and it feels good, but it hurts to see us lose. You know what I mean? And it just does something because we live in a city with a high murder rate. And it feels bad when you have possible role models for this generation that is this you seeing what's happening. And you're like, dude, well, what stars can we tell somebody to look to? And I was running a men's group for the last few weeks, and we talked about Ja Morant, the basketball player with the whole gun situation. And I like Ace Bang because I watch his videos on YouTube. I mean, not YouTube and Instagram. And I like when he was talking about, I like showing my gun because it's cute. Like, it was hilarious, right? But it's like, dude, I defended Ja Morant, right? Because I was like, dude, this comes from a place. And being a mental health therapist, and I worked at a place called Mountain Manor, and I work with some athletes. Some athletes have made it to pro sports that I have done therapy with. And you get a lot that goes into it, right? These families that sacrifice so much and come from so little, and they see their child and they go, hey, look, we're going to invest in this AAU. We're going to invest in this. We're going to invest in your body. We're going to do all these things because we want you to make it to the pros and we want you to be this great athlete. And we can see we can make millions and we can make it out of this struggle. And then got a role model. You got something that people can aspire to be because you go to this AAU, all these kids have the same dream. They're going to go in the league. They don't even think about the college part. They think about the league part, right? Basketball, football. You don't really see baseball in our community, in Baltimore communities, with black kids, which is sad because it's guaranteed contracts and less likelihood of injuries. But that's another round for another time, right? But you see what's going on with Jonathan Majors or with a Tank Davis, and you go, well, Tank not as much. Tank was on house arrest and he violated the house arrest, so he's going to be in jail for a little bit. But it's Tank's going to bounce back. Tank is still a world champion. Tank is amazing. Tank is still our guy. It's just the whole domestic violence piece and everything. I know Crime in Sports did a whole podcast on him very recently, and it's a thing, but he still does a lot to give back to this Baltimore community. So I'm kind of tap dancing away from that in a way. But when you look at what's going on with Jonathan Majors, it just goes, dang, yo, like, yeah, like this is a shot. You know what I mean? And you don't kind of quoting Hamilton, you don't want to throw away your shot. You know what I mean? And this is a shot. This is a shot for you. Not you're making millions. Like you look at with what Josh Brolin did with Thanos and how big of a star or how huge Thanos was, right? Everybody knows who Thanos is, right? Like Thanos is in the same vein as Darth Vader, right? Right now. And Thanos is a comic book character that if I was to tell you who about Thanos 15 years ago, you'd be like, "What are you talking about, you nerd?" Right? Growing up, I read comics, so I knew like even in the Silver Surfer cartoon, Thanos was in there, right? Nobody was talking about no Thanos, but when Marvel showed him at the end credit of the first Avengers movie, and then they were building that up, and then you had Infinity War and Endgame, and Thanos is doing his Thanosing, you're like, yo, Thanos, right? Especially when he won at the end of Infinity War. And I say all that to say we were really about to get that with Jonathan Majors, even more now, because Infinity War came out in what 2018, and Endgame came out in 2019. It's 2023 now, so with story writing and story building, now Marvel slash Disney are using platforms like Disney Plus and the movies to tell this whole complete big story. You can imagine how big of a character Kang the Conqueror was going to be and how much screen time Jonathan Majors is going to be. And mind you, there's so many different Kangs, which is different character, diff, different versions of the same person, which means different ways Jonathan Majors is going to be able to show and showcase his acting abilities to so many different people, right? I was already on the Jonathan Majors train. I imagine how many more we're about to be on this train, and then this happens, right? And it's heartbreaking because again, this is a kid that kids people can go, I could be like him. Maybe I don't have to shoot a basketball. Maybe I don't have to throw a football or get hit by a linebacker. Maybe I don't have to hit a baseball. Maybe I could be an actor. Maybe I could write for him, right? And then you see that and goes, dang, this sucks, right? So it's just thinking about that. And I kind of want to leave there. But I do want to say happy Father's Day to all the men out there that are fathers taking care of your kids, waking up every day, going to work, providing, spending time with your kids, talking to your kids, teaching your kids valuable lessons, investing in your kids, pouring into your kids. Um, happy Father's Day in advance. I know we have a couple weeks, but I just want to really put that out there. And if you're not, if you're slacking in that responsibility department as a father, let today be the first day that you start picking up that ball and going, I'm going to be more daddy. You know what I mean? Like I'm going to be more father, less daddy. You know what I mean? Because you can lay down with the person, make a baby with them, and be a dad, but that I'm providing and I'm going above and beyond. I'm at my kids' school. My kids' teachers know my name. Um, my kids talk to me. My kids feel comfortable telling me about their friends. My kids know me as a provider, as a friend, as a father. You know, we sit down, we talk, we watch TV shows. They can bring things that I have very interest in, but will tell me all about it, right? And I'm just like, oh wow, that's dope, that's amazing, right? Like being that, like if that's not who you have been, let today be your first day doing that, right? Because that is our next generation. We are only on this earth for a very short period of time, whether it's 20 years, 50 years, 75 years, 130 years. In the grand scheme of things, this earth has been around for billions of years. We're only here for a tiny speck of it. Let's make it matter. So, as men, as fathers, I challenge us all to make every second of our lives matter in our kids' lives. Love you all. Don't forget, like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, leave comments on my Amazon and Barnes& and Noble about how you like to Awaken the Void and The Legacy. Also, if you haven't purchased any of the books, please get them, read them, enjoy them. Like they're written for you. Um, if you haven't re- if you have read some but haven't read them all, please do read them all. Check out the trailers. They're on this YouTube channel. The Legacy and the Void. Please do not wait until the series comes out to pick up a copy of it. You know what I mean? Just to see what goes on and then want to play spoiler. But pick it up now. Enjoy it. Because I'm trying to tell you, it's great. And then what we're working on behind the scenes with the series, there are going to be some deviations. So please enjoy it. Love you all. Have a great, wonderful weekend. Peace.